Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Get Response Live, episode 224. And my guest today is Rui Romano. Welcome to the show, Rui.
Hello. Awesome to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and you're now calling in from Portugal, right? Last week we had
Yeah, I've
Japan.
exactly. So I'm
Yeah,
I'm in Portugal. I live in Porto, which is in the north of Portugal, and yeah, so we are happy to have meetings in the Europe time zone. I usually work in the US, so it's always good
yes,
when I
yeah.
get this opportunity.
No, it's also Yeah, it's also nice for this show that you can do it at the same time. Uh, what we're going to be discussing today is, agentic development in Power BI, and a part of that is the newly released MCP server. And Rui has been heavily involved in developing that, and it has been released 2 days ago. Rui, the solution.
Yes, it was released on Tuesday as part of
Yes.
the one of the Ignite announcements, and yeah, and it's great to see all the excitement from customers and users about it, all the use cases, and because
Yeah.
ultimately the goal is to unblock developer efficiency with our MCP, and I'm happy to see that. So people are saying things like, "Yeah, this is one of the best MCPs I ever played with," and that's great. So
Yeah.
it gives a lot of
Yeah.
energy to the team to keep going.
Yeah, nice. Now, we're going to be discussing that way more in this episode, what it is, because maybe some of the people that are watching now have no idea what MCP is. So we're going to be discussing that, what it is, what it can do. We will give some demos about it. And if you're watching, say hello in the comments, like Michael is doing. He's hyped. That's fine. Or you can ask your questions. Um, or if you want to support our channel, please give us a like on either LinkedIn or YouTube. Or if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to one of those. And we have a learning platform called Power Up, which also contains English language trainings on Power BI, AI, and much more. So have a look at our website if you're interested in that. Um, Rui, before we go dive into the details of agentic development, maybe very shortly you can introduce yourself. What is your current role? What are you involved in?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Rui. I'm a product manager on the Power BI team within Fabric, and I'm kind of living the dream because now I'm like shaping the product where I focus almost all my professional career as a consultant, and especially focusing on features that make the, let's say, the BI professionals, the Power BI users that care a lot about control, efficiency, co-development, team collaboration, and my all the features or the main features that I'm driving within the Power BI team. Their goal is to make that persona successful with Power BI and successful using our tools. So yeah, and it's
Yes.
great that I'm kind of building things for my previous self. Sometimes I think, okay,
Yeah.
would I be happy with this? But
Yes. No, that's
yeah,
great that you can be
it's
your
great.
own persona.
Yeah, I can be my own persona.
uh, yeah, nice.
But
I'm
sometimes
gonna
it's also
include your
dangerous
screen
because
in
sometimes we can be I
maybe.
can be a little bit biased, and that's one of the great things
Yeah.
about my team and the product team is that we have like multiple personas within the team, and we always try to balance
Yeah.
each other, which is great.
Of course. Yeah. Um, I'm going to include your screen, so please take us into the new developments on agentic development, including MCP. And like I said, you're also going to give some nice demos on what you can do with this new released solution. So I'm going to add your screen now. Yes, we see it. So please,
Okay, let's
share.
go. So my goal for today and the goal with this session is to highlight not all, but some of the possibilities that you can do today and with AI agents together with your Power BI developments. There are a lot of things that you can do. So this is more like an overview. I will not go into much detail about like really what is an MCP and how you install the GitHub, how you can use AI agents with GitHub Copilot or Claude. I'll do a small introduction, but there are a lot of resources out there that explain all of this. I do have some links also in the slides for some
Perfect.
articles from the community that go a lot more deep dive into this. But my goal is to really just like open your mind, and if you are a Power BI developer, mostly like a more advanced or experienced Power BI developer, how can you scale yourself? How can you be a lot more efficient in your development processes? Sounds good.
Perfect.
And and the first thing, and I have this slide for, I think I created the first version of this slide like 2 years ago when I presented the Power BI project, and I keep changing it a little bit. But I do like to say that for the last 2 years or almost 3 years, we kind of live in this like new age for Power BI development because now we finally have a code format with a PBIP for both the semantic model and the report. That's having a code format allows many things like just visibility into the code, like seeing the code behind of a Power BI development, which before it was a PBIX that was not possible, or you had to resort to some hacks so you can see it. And just getting access to the code gives you a lot of advantages. You can inspect the code, you can move things around, you can reuse, increase a lot of the reusability. But also, and especially in the age of AI, it also allows you to get this efficiency boost because if you have access to the code, you can change the code, and you can change the code yourself using scripts or manually, or you can just ask AI to do that for you. And this means that if you have a task that is a very tedious task, a repetitive task, you can literally automate that task again by writing a script, or you can just feed the code to an AI agent and tell what you want to do. And especially if you are a more experienced developer, you can understand if what it's doing is correct, and then just automate that task. So one takeaway from this session is the next step. So if you are doing something that is very like repetitive and it has a straight pattern and it takes you a lot of time, think twice before doing that in the UI again manually, because of this code behind, and because of having a lot more access to the to the definitions of both the report and the semantic model in Power BI, you can automate a lot of things, and of course
Mhm.
also collaboration. So now it's easier than ever to have co-development, and but not only like when I say collaboration, it's not just using Git. So you might even use collaboration today for just like sharing things, like especially in the with features like the Tyndall view, you can script a table, and you can get the code of that table and share it with another colleague. So think of that scenario, or like you have a calendar table and you want to make sure that you can share that calendar table with someone else, or to another semantic model that you are developing. You don't need to, like before, to just to copy and paste the Power Query code and then go and manually configure every property, or all the semantic model, all the semantics of that calendar table again. You can just script the whole table that
Yeah.
brings the Power Query, it brings the DAX, and it brings all the semantic properties, and you can just apply it in that new model. So
Yeah, and it's
that's
becoming even the new standard, I read, Rui. So because PBIX is now the current standard, but this is becoming the new standard, it seems,
yeah.
that I
Well,
listened to.
let me clarify that, because I think I didn't do a good
Yeah.
job in that blog post I did this week,
Oh, okay.
where I said it was a blog post about the PBIR becoming the new standard. But the
Yeah.
PBIR is not the Power BI, let's say, file format. So in Power BI, you have two file formats. You have the PBIX and you have the PBIP. The PBIX is not going away, and it will probably never go away. Okay, because it's the file format that makes more sense for things like for the majority of our users, because it's easier to share, it's easier to manage. It's a single file. If I want to share my development with you, I can just share you that file. So the PBIX is not going away. Now we do have another file format called the PBIP, and the PBIP, it's more it was made and thought for more professional developers that care about source control, that care about versioning their developments, that care about co-development, because they are working in a team, and maybe you have one developer working in the model, one other developer working in the report, maybe more than one developer working in the same semantic model. So you need to have a way so you can like collaborate, so and be able to merge conflicts. And the PBIX is not good for that, because the PBIX is just a binary file. And if you are working in a team with a PBIX file format, I'm pretty sure you run into that situation where I'm working on the PBIX. Please don't work in it because I'm working on it. So otherwise we will overwrite each other. So the PBIP, one of the tenets of the PBIP was to unblock that type of more professional collaboration.
Okay.
But many more things, like because access to the code, generate, like you have a supported way so you can generate a report and you can manipulate a report using code. So the PBIR is the report definition format. So as you can see in this image over here, so this is a report. So in the PBIP, you have the report, you have the semantic model as two separate folders. This is also a good advantage of the PBIP. It makes a clear separation between the report and the semantic model. So when you save a PBIX, you'll get these two folders. And the PBIR is this definition folder over here. But the PBIR, it's the report definition. So we are talking about like the pages, the visuals, the bookmarks, and it goes inside the PBIP and the PBIX. So the announcement that I made early this week was that going forward, we will only support the PBIR, but the PBIR will also be inside of the PBIX. So right now, if you unpack a PBIX file, which is just a zip file, you will see that you have like a layout file. It's a single file, and it's using what we call the PBIR legacy, which is a report format that we never exposed, and it was not good for source control. It was not good for code manipulation. And then we announced like almost 2 years ago the PBIR, which is still JSON, but it's like pretty like formatted JSON with a folder structure, and where each visual has its own file. And the PBIR, and both for the PBIX and the PBIP, we are basically upgrading that single JSON file into this folder structure, which is the PBIR. But if you are using a PBIX today, nothing will change for you. So we'll just open and save, and behind the scenes, we will upgrade the PBIR.
It's good that we clarified it. I think we can do a whole episode about the extensions. I think, but let's continue with the other agentic development
Very
parts.
well.
Yes.
So and first, let's start on what is this agentic development in Power BI. So. And by the way, there is an amazing article from the Tablet Editor team. It's written by Kurt Buehler. Highly recommend you guys to read it. I don't know if you can just paste it in the chat. It's a series of articles that basically just goes through the process of what this means and the pros and the cons, and also some of the concerns that you should have. But in essence, and I will give you my personal take of agentic development, is basically the developer will lead and the AI will build it. So instead of if you want to do something, you always need to go either to the code or to the UI and basically do it. With agentic development, you are still in control, but you don't necessarily need to put the work to do the development. What you can do is you can set the directory. You can basically ask an agent, and it's going to be a key. It's going to be key and very important on the context and the prompt that you are going to put to the agent. And what we are going, I'm going to show you a lot of examples about what this context means, and also the tools that you are going to provide to the agent so it can do the work for you. So, and as you can see in this diagram, which is also similar to one diagram that is on Kurt's article. So you are a Power BI developer, and let's say you want to, for example, create a new semantic model. Okay, you can say, okay, I want to create a new semantic model on top of this CSV data or on top of this SQL Server data. And you prompt that to the agent, and the agent, which has an LLM, and you can have multiple LLM. There are multiple LLMs that you can use, and ones perform better than the others. So it's also important to experiment here a little bit. Let's say you use the model, the Claude Sonnet model, and the AI agent that will also have a set of tools like MCP servers. One example of such a tool is the Power BI modeling MCP, and also with some context that some of the context might also actually come from the MCP server, but other context might be context that you, as a Power BI developer, you are going to put some effort saying, okay, this is how I create a semantic model, or these are the steps that I follow. This is how I want to write descriptions. These are my naming conventions. So we are going to put that into a context, and the AI agent with all of this will basically, in a loop and in a sequence of steps, is going to interact with the Power BI development, either by modifying the code directly or using tools that will connect, like an MCP server that can connect to the analysis services database behind the Power BI project for the semantic model, and it's going to perform those changes for you automatically. And the beauty of this is that it's not like a one time only. So it will, let's say if you say like create a semantic model, you will see that the AI agent will start, and that's also important to define that context. Maybe it will start by creating an empty model, and then it's going to create a set of tables for that will answer for each of those CSV files or the SQL database that you provide to him. And actually, even before that, let's say if you say create me a semantic model on top of this SQL database, it might also use a SQL MCP tool to analyze the tables of the SQL server before even starting the semantic model. So, for example, one of the things that if you want to put the context on how to create a Power BI semantic model, you should say one important thing is to define the phases. Okay, how should the agent think when it's creating that semantic model? So, for example, the first step is analyze the data sources, understand if it's a star schema or if it's already shaped, so I can create a good semantic model following the best practices. And the next step, create the tables. And the next step, create the relationships. Next step, create the measures.
I have one question, Rui. So the Power BI modeling MCP server, that's for the semantic model of Power BI. But if you, for example, would make changes on SQL, that would require another MCP then? How does that work?
Yes,
Within
for
an
sure.
agent?
So the Power BI modeling MCP server is just for the semantic model. It does not even know or have any tools for the report, for example. If you want to make changes to the SQL Server database, or let's say if you are using Fabric to a lakehouse, you will need to use an MCP such as the Fabric MCP that has tools that can generate codes to interact with the lakehouse and interact with notebooks, for example. So each MCP server basically provides a set of APIs to interact with the platform. That in the case of the Power BI modeling MCP, it's a set of APIs to interact with a semantic model. But it's not just it's not the beauty of the MCP server is that it's not just the APIs and how to call the tools. It's also documentation about how to call the tool. So whenever you bring an MCP server to an AI agent, it's kind of this like plug and play, because it's a protocol that will define, okay, you have these tools and this is how you use these tools, and the agent can just understand and reason about when to use the tool and where to use the tool.
And more MCPs are being created because it's an open standard, so everyone can use it. So that's interesting to see. I see a couple of questions. Thank you for asking your questions, but I parked them for now because I want to see first. Let's see some demos and more information about MCP, and then
Yeah.
I'll take as much as possible of your questions also. So thank you
Yeah,
for asking them.
and we already talked a little bit about this, but just like in 2 minutes, let's just before going to the demo. So
Yes.
Power BI project, the developer mode, is the code behind of Power BI. So it gives you this code experience of Tyndall and PBIR. Inside of that PBIP, you have the two code formats. And I want to make this introduction because the first demo I'm going to make is not going to use any MCP. It's just going to make how can you use the code how can you use AI to manipulate and change the code for you. And for the semantic model, we have the tabular model definition language, which is a declarative. It's basically the textual representation of the semantic model in a declarative and readable way. It was built for collaboration, and it has a folder structure, so every table has its own file. And we also have the Power BI nested report format, the PBIR, which is it's not like Tyndall, where we have like a declarative language. It's still JSON, but it's a JSON that is good for source control. It's also a very strong statement that Microsoft is making, that we are finally documenting and making it public, the report format, which means that it's now supported for you to go and make changes to that file or ask AI to make changes to that file. And that is a key thing that unblocks anything that you can do in terms of report creation with Power BI reports. And you can see a lot of folks in the community like going on creating agents or skills that know how to interact with this file format and, let's say, create a report or format a report or refactor a report on things that can give quite a bit of work. And inside of the tool of Power BI Desktop, and soon we will also bring this to the web. You have Tyndall View, and Tyndall View is it's a modeling scripting experience using the Tyndall language inside of Power BI Desktop. So it essentially gives you a very easy way for you to script any table or any object into a code editor using the Tyndall language. And then you can either make changes directly to the code and apply them to the semantic model, but also, because it's code, you can script, and then you can take that script and you can go to an AI application that could be even ChatGPT, although be careful on the privacy, but you can just take that code and go to any AI application, and you can ask the AI application to make changes to that code. And when the changes are done, you can bring the code back to Tyndall View and apply it to the semantic model. And I think that this is one of the easiest ways for you to get started. And with that, let's go here to a demo. So I already have like a Power BI file. I'm saving as a PBIP just because I want to show you the structure, but this will work exactly the same with a PBIX file. And to me, one of the, let's say, easiest ways for you to get started with AI and agentic development with Power BI is actually using Tyndall View. And what you can do, so when you open Tyndall View, and Tyndall View is this tab here on the left. When you open it, you have like a code editor, and you can just drag objects into that Tyndall view. So if you want to see the measure, the definition of a measure, let's just make this a little bit bigger. You just drag and drop, and you can see, okay, this is the Tyndall for the measure. And if you want to see all the measures, you drag this the group measures, and you can see all the measures. And let's say you want to set descriptions on all the measures, because it's a best practice. It's also good for if you are using Copilot. Copilot will use the descriptions to better answer your questions, and you have a couple of ways to set descriptions in Power BI. So you can go to the model view, and you can go to the measure, and you can write the description. You can also use Copilot to set the descriptions. But if you need to do this to a lot of measures in at the same time, this can be quite time consuming. So what you can do is you script all the measures, and setting a description for a measure. It's essentially you go to the top of the measure, and you type these 3 forward slashes, and you type the description, whatever, and you hit apply, and then you have the description. That the description gets applied to the object. And of course, that I could. This is also a good way. So I could like just go measure my measure and write the description. But this is one of the nice use cases for AI. So I can just save the script, and I copy the entire code, and I go to an AI application. Just open the folder, and I'm going to use the GitHub Copilot, which is one of. So you can use GitHub Copilot. You could use Claude Desktop. You could use ChatGPT. I'm going to use GitHub Copilot. Just I don't know because I'm more used to it. And what I'm going to do is first I'm going to show you the file. So I have the Tyndall script, and I can just copy and paste the Tyndall script into this file. And in GitHub Copilot, you can install 2 extensions. In VS Code, you can install 2 extensions: the GitHub Copilot and the GitHub Copilot Chat. After you install this and you sign up with your GitHub account, there is a free. It has a free tier and also some paid plans. But what I'm going to show you, it also works with a free tier. Of course, it has some limitations in terms of the consumption that you will generate. But okay, I have my script, and then after you install the GitHub Copilot extension, you will see this chat option over here that you can toggle, and then in here you will want to change this to agent mode, because agent mode you are not going to only work with this file. It can take into consideration other files, and you will see that we will want to do that. So when I open the script, I can just make this a little bit bigger. I could just say, okay, set descriptions or set measure descriptions on my opened file. And if I just say this with nothing else, it's very likely that this was not going to work because I'm not giving it enough context. I'm trusting that maybe the LLM and the agent will know what Tyndall is. It will know how to put the description. But I can tell you that many times it will just fail. It will maybe put the description as a property and not following this convention. And let's see if it does something wrong, because I would like to show you that. If not, I will skip it. But trust me, it will hallucinate. Okay, let me stop this.
Yeah.
And how can you make this a lot better? The way to make this a lot better is to invest in that context. So you could have a skill, and a skill is just a markdown file. I'm following the Claude skill convention or schema. but this is not mandatory. But the skill is basically a markdown file where you can teach the agent, or you can teach AI how to work with Tyndall. And I'm basically saying that, okay, a Tyndall, there are some general rules about Tyndall. So object names, they should be enclosed in single quotes. By the way, I could also redirect the agent to the public documentation. But for simplicity, I have this markdown in here. I'm also teaching the agent about Tyndall scripts, and I'm also going to say that things like setting descriptions. So whenever you set descriptions, this is how you do it. This is not how you do it. So I basically give you just need to give these simple examples on how to work with Tyndall. And at the same time, you can do a little bit more complex stuff with this. You can also say you can take this to the next level. You can also have like a markdown file with some context about your company, where you say like some you are a company that you sell products on a series of brands. You partners with manufacturers and suppliers. So you can put some context about your company, about your business, or the business of the model that you are working with, and also provide this context to the agent so it will write better descriptions and more user and business friendly descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
And let me show you how this looks like. So you open the same file, but now instead of simply saying to ask to set descriptions, I already have a prompt prepared in here. You are going to say something a little bit more elaborate. You are going to say, okay, set descriptions on all the measures of the open file, and make sure that you analyze the DAX code and generate the description aligned to what the code does. And also make sure that you load the skill file, and you also use the company context for the verbiage to include in the descriptions. And if you do such a thing, and now if you run the prompt again, now the agent is going to take that context, and together with its own skills to change the like a text file, it's going to do a much better job, and it's going to put the descriptions in the right place, and it's going to also at the same time generate those descriptions with the enough context that you have in that company context markdown file.
Cool. So context is critical here,
Yeah,
both on the Tyndall language and the company, and you can include that. But this is an example of the GitHub Copilot extension that you loaded, right? That is using this. That is mandatory for using this.
yeah, I'm using the GitHub Copilot extension
Yeah.
in Visual Studio Code. So you need
Yes.
to install that extension so you can have this the interaction with the GitHub Copilot agent in VS Code that will
Yeah.
run that LLM, and it will also
There it
actually,
is. Yes.
although it's not actually following. Okay, but
Mhm.
it did the wrong thing. So it added the description
Mhm.
here, but you can see that it spotted that, because I put in the context that I don't want the descriptions inside of the property, and hopefully
So
it's
it's
going
checking
actually
itself,
it's checking
and
itself, and
that.
it's going to fix
Yeah.
itself. It's going to say, now I'm going to put the comments inside the
Yeah.
three
Yeah.
forward
Yeah.
slashes, because I learned that from the skill. Okay.
Mhm.
And this is the type this is one way to do it, which is a lot more scalable, like having a skill or
Mhm.
a markdown file where you will put those instructions. Another way could be just you could just add this to the prompt. You could just say, okay, set the description, and you see this, and you will see that it's wrong, and you can just say, hey, the description is not there. The description should go into the top
Yes.
of the element using the three forward slashes, and it will also work.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
But having something like this is a lot more reusable, because you do it once, and then you can share it across your all your Power BI developments.
Yes.
I'm sorry, because the GitHub Copilot, and it's a little bit slow today, but let's see if this will work. Maybe I can answer some of the questions while
Yeah.
this
I,
is
I, I was
executing.
just want to propose that. Yeah. While that is running, because there were some good questions. Let's see which one I will take first. You were talking about, and we're gonna do that in a minute. We're gonna look at the MCP server for data modeling.
Yep.
And that is also in Visual Code, right? And Andreas is wondering, are there any plans to maybe include it right away in Power BI Desktop?
Yeah, so definitely. So right now we are
Yeah.
shipping the modeling the modeling MCP as a standalone MCP, a local MCP that you download and you install. We try to make it really, really easy if you are using VS Code, but you can also use it in other AI applications such as Claude Desktop. So you can download the MCP and install it in there in other tools. But the plan is definitely also to take this to Power
Nice.
BI Desktop. If it's going to be making Power BI Desktop an MCP client, or maybe just having the Copilot experience in VS Code in Power BI to simply use have the same type of capabilities. I don't have an answer for
Yeah.
that yet, but the plan is to bring this type of agentic experience
Nice.
straight into the product, so you don't need
Yeah.
to install
I
VS
think
Code and use that
it can maybe lower the
external.
barrier for some people, if
Yeah,
it's right away in Power BI. So that's nice. That's a nice thing that's being looked at.
okay.
Um, I know that there is also an MCP for chatting with your data. Was that also released this week, or is that upcoming? Because that was announced before, that there were two MCP servers also for
Yeah,
chatting with your data.
it was also
Um,
released this week.
Also
And the
released.
difference
Okay.
between the two is that the modeling MCP, it also does query. So the modeling MCP can also do query, but it's a
Mhm.
local MCP where the chat with your data MCP, it's a remote MCP where
Mm.
what I mean is when it's a remote MCP, you don't need to install anything. You just register and you are ready to go. With a local MCP, you do need to install something. But the chat
Yeah.
with your data MCP, the scenario or the goal is to allow customers to chat and query the semantic models using natural language, and it's only
Yes.
that. So it's focused for querying. The
All right.
modeling MCP, it's focused on modeling. It also does query, but it does query to support the modeling. So for example,
I
you create a
understand.
measure and you want to test the measure, or you want
Yes.
to benchmark the measure against like the optimized
Okay.
version versus the non-optimized version.
All right. Shall we continue with the MCP? I'm not sure whether the Copilot is done already, but
Yeah, it's done. Let me just
it's
I
done.
just
Oh,
want to
I added your screen again.
show
Oh
you.
yeah, we see
So
the comments now. Yeah.
you now the comments are fine. Now you can just and this is one that's why I say this is one of the easiest way to get started, because you just script the Tyndall, you ask the LLM to make changes to the Tyndall files, and then you just bring it back to Power BI Desktop. You can create a new
Yeah.
script, and now you have all the measures, and you can see that the descriptions is following that convention that we just said to the
Yes.
agent, putting that verbiage from the company before. And this is also an important feature in Tyndall View, is you don't need to apply the script right away. You can hit preview, and it's going to give you a nice diff of the changes that are going to be made to the
Yeah.
model before apply. And when you apply now, just like that, now all your measures have that description. Now we did a very
Mhm.
simple scenario generating descriptions, but you could apply this to whatever the scenario, whatever the change. Just keep in mind that changing the code, it's a lot more likely to run into some hallucinations, because and you probably need to put some more context into teaching the agent on how
Clear.
to make those changes to the semantic model, which is a big
All right.
difference. When we go to the MCP, you will see that you don't need to provide so much context, because the MCP will actually provide tools like how to how to set the descriptions, and how to create a measure, and how to run a query, and that will
Yeah.
give enough context for the agent to just execute
Yeah.
task
Shall
with
we move to
not so much.
the MCP, Rui?
Yeah.
Because we time
Okay. And
flies when you're having fun.
and let me show you how you can get started first. So first thing, this is a VS Code extension. that you install. So you go to the marketplace in Visual Studio Code, you hit install, you need to have VS Code installed. You also need to have the GitHub Copilot, because for you to use the MCP server, you need to have an agent, such as the GitHub Copilot. And when you install, you will see that you'll get in VS Code, you'll get a bunch of tools for semantic modeling available for you. One more time, if you want to use the MCP server in other AI application, such as Claude, Claude Desktop, you can also download the binaries. And when you download the binaries, you can even double-click the application, and when you do that, we will give you the JSON that you need to use to configure in other AI applications, other MCP clients, and it will basically look like this. And when you install, so I already have it installed over here, and let me show you how you can use it. And one of my favorite demos. So first, you need to have this a Power BI semantic model, and that semantic model can be and the MCP server. It supports both. It can connect to a semantic model in Power BI Desktop. It can connect to a semantic model in a Fabric workspace. So you can just say connect to semantic model sales in workspace X. Although right now it's not working, because we are rolling out there was an issue with our Entra application, and we are still rolling that out, but it should be possible, if not by the end of the week, early next week. So you may get an authentication error, but please try it, because this is it's rolling out as we speak. But you can also work with a Power BI project, which makes this great for agentic autonomous development. So this MCP, it allows you to connect to the three different environments where you have your a semantic model. So you can connect live to a PBI desktop or a Fabric workspace, but you can also work with the code.
Yeah.
And so the easiest way to get started is you have Power BI desktop. If you have two screens, the better. But in here I won't have two screens, so I'll put this side by side if Windows let me. Oh, come on. Okay, here you go. So you put Power BI Desktop side by side with Visual Studio Code. Where do I have Visual Studio Code? Here. Not this one. Actually, this one over here. So you can open it side by side. You install the extension. So you search for the Power BI Modeling MCP extension. You install it. I already have it installed. One thing that is nice about VS Code is that you can just maximize the chat window. So first you click on this toggle chat, you maximize this chat window. Let's start on a clean chat. And the first thing you need to do is you need to connect to the Power BI, to the semantic model. So you come here and you say, so make this a little bit bigger. You say connect to MCP demo Power BI desktop. And why MCP demo? Why this? It's because it's the name of my file. It's the name of my window. So I want to connect my MCP to the semantic model that I'm authoring in this Power BI desktop. And when you do that, the GitHub Copilot is going to use the Power BI modeling MCP tools. So because you install the Power BI modeling MCP, you basically have the MCP tools available in here.
Yes.
And let's give it some time. Normally, the first time you execute it, it might take a couple of minutes, so it can load the MCP. And now you see that it's using the MCP server, and the first thing that it's going to try to do is, okay, let me get, because it knows that to connect to Power BI Desktop, it needs to find the local MCP, local TCP port for that analysis services. So it's going to find the Power BI Desktop instances that you have running in your machine. And because I said it's the MCP demo, it will find that, and now I'm connected to that to this semantic model. And now you essentially you can ask using natural language. You can ask the agent to do changes, and you can see this in my example model. I have a semantic model that is not the best in terms of naming. So it has like some completely arbitrary names, and I might have the task to make this consistent, because this is not only going to help our users or that are going to use the semantic model, but it's also going to help AI and copilots to get to understand better and make queries to the semantic model. And of course, that I have one way to do it is I could come here and I could just start renaming column by column. But and this is a small semantic model. It could be a lot bigger. I would probably it will take me like a couple of hours to get this going. So what I can do instead is I can ask the AI to help me, and I can say, okay, analyze the naming convention of my semantic model and focus on tables, columns, and measures. I want to get a consistent naming with business-friendly names. And if I do just this, what is going to happen is that the GitHub Copilot or the agent using the LLM is going to use the MCP server to analyze the model. Okay, it's not going to make any changes now. It's going to get all the information it can about the model. It's going to get information about the tables. It's going to get information about the measures. It's going to get information about the columns of each table. And with that information, it's going to reason. It's going to reason about okay, what is wrong? Why? It's going to analyze the pattern. It's going to give me an analysis that is not necessarily always with the same format, but it's going to give me an analysis saying that okay, I detected significant inconsistencies here. So so you have mixed conventions. You have highly inconsistent names on the columns. You have the measures are also very inconsistent, and it's going to give me a recommendation. But the thing that makes this special is that I could just say, go ahead and rename, or I can provide more context. I could say, okay, looks nice, but I want some changes.
Always be positive, eh? To the LLM.
Exactly. And you can say measures should be uppercase and don't use dim or fact in the names, and I don't know, don't use technical terms. What I'm saying is you can just accept, or you can accept. So yes, it needs to be consistent, but this is also my personal things that I want you to follow. I'm not just going to accept what you told me to do. And when you do that, now the agent goes back into the reasoning. It's going to make sure that it's going to apply whatever you told him to, like the measures in uppercase and all of that. And now it's going to make the implementation. One of the things we do in the MCP, this is called elicitation. So every time we are about to make a change to a semantic model, and we only do this once because we also don't want to make the experience very jarring to the user, we prompt you for the permission. Also, as a way to tell you that we are about to make a change to the semantic model. Are you okay? And you say yes. And now we are not going to ask this anymore for that semantic model, because in the beginning, the first version of the MCP, we were actually asking every single time, but this was very, very jarring to the user.
Yeah.
And as you can see, I don't know if you noticed,
changes already. Yes.
Power BI Desktop you can see the changes in real time. And the reason why you see the changes in real time, it's because the MCP server basically behaves like an external tool. It's essentially the same thing as if you open Tablet Editor and you make changes with Tablet Editor against the semantic model. This is something that we did a long time ago. We also did something that was fundamental and critical for this to work, which was the hardening work we did, the desktop hardening work we did with TindleView. Because now with TindleView, you can also make any change. And because you can make any change, we had to do a lot of work to, if you do things like renames, we need to, desktop cannot just blow up and generate Power Query expressions because of that. If you create partitions, we cannot just blow up. So the hardening work is also...
Yeah. So there was already a lot of preparation done before this MCP
Yes.
to facilitate this. And is it now writing into the local PBIP file, or is it only a Power BI desktop changing something? Where does it make
So
the
right
changes,
now,
I wonder?
like I said, it's the same thing as an external tool. So it's interacting.
Yeah.
So in Power BI desktop, when you are developing, you have an analysis services behind the scenes that is running in the background of Power BI. What the MCP is doing is changing that analysis services database. And Power BI desktop, because it's also operating on top of that analysis services database, is reflecting the changes that the MCP is doing. Okay, but I'm not saving to a PBIP. That's why in here, this is a PBIX file. And just like that, in a few, I don't know, a minute or two, I was able to bulk rename my semantic model, apply that personal, those personal rules that I wanted, like the uppercase in the measures, and without going through that all that manual effort of applying all these renames. So it saved me quite a bit of time. And this is just one example. Let me give you another example, by the way. So in this semantic model, I have, let me open the Power Query. And this is where you need to be a little bit more careful. And maybe you also need to provide some more context to the AI agent, because yes, the LLMs, they can write Power Query, because Power Query has been exists for many, many years. There are a lot of public knowledge about Power Query, but sometimes you need to, you cannot just trust the LLM to write the best Power Query or the best DAX. So it would be good to provide some context. So, but one thing that is also a typical scenario when you are developing with Power BI is using parameters. And a parameter is essentially, so in all these Power Query queries, I have some a CSV. I'm getting data from a CSV folder, and I'm using exactly the same location in all the queries. So I might want to refactor my queries to use parameters, which is not necessarily write a full Power Query code, but it's more like looking into the existing code, detecting some patterns, and then creating something new. And what I want to do here is I want to say, okay, can you analyze the Power Query code of my model and create a central semantic model parameter for the CSV data sources. Let's put it like this. Let's see how it goes. And again, what the MCP is so what the agent is going to do is, first, it knows that it has some tools to get the Power Query, so it can analyze the Power Query code. So that's the first thing it's going to do. So Power Query operations is going to get all the partitions. It's going to look into that code and look at the beauty of this. It's going to see that it has some CSV data sources, so it detected that. And because it also knows that it has a tool that is capable of creating those semantic model parameters, is going to just use that tool. It's going to use the tool create parameter with that CSV CSV location, with the location of the CSV files, and then it's going to go through all the Power Query code in all the tables, and it's going to refactor that. It's going to replace the code that was that had the hard coded reference to the location, and is going to refactor that for a non-hard coded and using a semantic model parameter. Again, it's a simple example, but the key takeaway, or the main point I want to make, is that this MCP, with the MCP, you can provide you can allow the agent in a safe way to inspect the existing code, and then after that make changes to the partitions, which would be a lot harder to do with changing directly the Tyndall file, because having a tool like the partition operations and the named expressions operations will make sure that it's going to get this right. So, and you can see that created the parameter, updated the table. So now if I go to Power Query, now I should get I should have my parameter in there. So here it is, the parameter, and and also it refactored the Power Query to use that parameter. So this was all done by the agent. I can see that this is giving me an error. Actually, this is a bug because it's putting some extra double quotes in here. Now it should work fine. So again, it's using an agent for this type of refactoring work, where it already has some code, it already can understand what exists, and it's those time-consuming tasks. It's a great time saver, and it's a great use case for the Power BI model.
I really liked what you said in the beginning. Every time you think, oh, this is a lot of tiresome, repetitive work, then this might be the solution. And
now,
I've
one more
tens of
demo?
questions, but let's do one more demo. And before you go into that, thank you also to your, I think it's your colleague, Kalash, who is already answering a lot of the questions that people ask in the chat. So thank you very much for doing that, Kalash, because there are a lot of people asking questions. I cannot include them all now. But this is the symbol I see a lot. So Maria, thank you for that.
Thank you,
People are
Kailash.
very impressed. So it's good to see. So let's do one more demo. What you can do.
Yeah. Okay. So while I was using the MCP, actually one of the disadvantages of using an MCP tool against the Power BI semantic model is that it will just do stuff, and if you want to undo, that might be it's going to be a challenge, because it just applied the change, and because it's not making the changes to the code. If it was making changes to the code, then you can actually have this in Git and control every single change. So, but there is a way that you can kind of achieve the same thing, where you don't use the PBIX, you use the PBIP. So you save the development to a PBIP folder, and then you use Git. So you have the PBIP, and because I have the PBIP now, all my semantic model is represented as Tyndall files, and because you have Git and you have the PBIP, now every change that you do to the semantic model is going to be tracked by Git. So, for example, now let's make another change to my. Well, let's ask the agent to make one more. It's a little bigger. Why I don't have? Okay, here it is, and now let's, for example, ask. Say, can you create a measure for rolling sales average for, or can you get for, actually we can create two measures for rolling sale average for, so I already have one for 12 months and 6 months, for 24 months and 3 months, following the pattern in the 12-month rolling average measure. So you don't need to be very specific, and normally it will check if you see it will check if it has a 12-month rolling average, so it will find that. It's going to look at that code, and it's going to generate two new measures, one for the 24-month and another for the 3-month. And now I have here's the two new measures that got created, and you can see that it's following the same
Fast.
pattern
Yeah.
of the existing measers. You could
Mhm.
ask other stuff. You could ask, okay, can you refactor these measures into a calculation group or into a user-defined function? So as you can see, that as you already noticed, like
Can it
refactoring is a big
also,
thing.
yeah, can it also clean up that maybe you created 100 measures and only 20 are
Oh yeah,
used? Can you
sure,
say clean
sure.
up the 80 that are not used anywhere?
Yeah, you could. Let's try that. So can you delete
Yeah.
all the count measures?
Hmm.
And it's going to do the same thing. It's going to try to
Yeah.
find measures that are for counts, and it's going to drop them. Okay, you see,
Yeah.
deleted
Yeah.
for count
Yeah.
measures.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But by the way, if you ask to create a calculation group, it will probably, unless you explicitly ask it to do, it will also delete the measures after the creation of a calculation group. But the thing that I want to call out in here is that because I'm working with a PBIP, I just made all these changes with my MCP. And
Mhm.
now if I'm saving and I go back to VS Code, now I can see and I can track, because I have Git, all the changes the MCP did. So you can see that
Mm.
there are a lot of things going on, because also
Yeah.
another advantage of using the MCP here is that it will handle the dependencies. If you drop a measure, it's going to drop the
Yeah.
measure on the perspectives and the translations and whatever that measure is
Mhm.
referenced. And you see that it dropped the customer count, it dropped the product count, and
Yes.
also the order count, because we asked to drop, and it created
And
these
it's
two
added.
measures. It's even
Yeah.
adding the descriptions here. So the takeaway is, using the MCP together with the PBIP, you can get a lot more control. You can get a lot more. It's like a lot more guardrail controlling what the MCP is doing. You can use it
Yeah.
with the PBIX. Of course, you can make a backup of the PBIX, but this takes things into the next level, because with the PBIP,
Yeah.
a lot
This is
more
the best
backup.
practice. Yeah. This is a best practice to be sure because it goes so fast. Also, I can imagine. Yeah, because you're asking questions and in a couple of seconds it has been changed. So it becomes maybe even more important because of the speed of making
Yeah.
adjustments. So uh, maybe one final. So this is the way to install it. Is it maybe one final question, Rui, because that was asked also by one of the viewers. Is this fully free or what is it a cost involved in using these solutions or what do
Yeah,
you
it's
what does it require?
100% free. So in terms of
Yeah,
the MCP, it's completely free. It
yeah,
behaves as an external tool.
nice.
What may not be free, but it does have some
Mhm.
free from free offerings, is the AI, so the LLMs that you are going to use, the AI application. So you have GitHub Copilot. It has a free offering, but with certain limitations. For example,
Yes.
Claude Desktop also has a free offering, but after a few
Yeah,
prompts, you'll get prompt for a pro plan. So the
yeah,
thing that is not free in here is the use of AI.
yeah,
But again,
yeah.
you can definitely get started and experiment
Exactly.
with a free subscription, and then if you get value, and I'm pretty sure that if you are
I think
I
so
like
too.
to say one of those lazy Power BI developers, lazy by, and I mean like efficient, you will get a ton of value from this.
Yeah.
We have been seeing customers doing, like, scaling their efficiency tenfold with the MCPs and together with the PBIP. Now, of course, great power, great responsibility, and the fact that we make the platform more open, and the ability for you to have an MCP just go
Mhm,
crazy and change the entire semantic model,
mhm,
and desktop is just fine with it.
mhm.
Yes, things can break. Okay,
Yep.
but that's why I thought it was important to call out the PBIP format,
Yes.
and also
And the kit.
and it should also take into consideration that if you don't provide enough context to the prompt, if you don't provide enough information, it will be a lot more non-deterministic, and it might not do the it might not met your expectations.
Yeah.
But
Rui,
with that
thank you so
context
much
and that
for
effort,
yeah.
you will definitely be worth it.
Yeah, it I think I don't think I've had so many comments and questions before in an episode before, so that says a lot. People are getting very excited to try this out. Again, I can't include all the comments because I wanted also to give Rui the time to show the demos. But again, thank you for your colleague for answering already some questions, and maybe you can have a look also at the comments
Yeah.
after we are ending the episode because the number of questions are still coming. Um, but thank you all for asking those questions and also for answering each other's questions. That's nice to see. Um, Next week, we are also back with another episode, and we're going to be talking about dashboard design, best practices in that area. So if you like that, although there are a lot of international viewers, next week it's again in Dutch because we are a Dutch show. But we will make sure that we'll also include more and more international guests also. So thank you all for watching. Thank you again for Rui for your time and yeah, giving all these nice explanations and best of luck in further developing this. And oh yeah, maybe one final question. Oh, so many questions. But are there more and more yeah, how do you call them? Tools within the MCP, or is it already very complete at the moment? Or are there things that you
So
can maybe include still?
the right now, I would say that it's already very complete. The goal of the
Hmm.
modeling MCP is to essentially expose the entire semantic modeling surface area for
Hmm.
the AI applications. I'm pretty sure that there will be bugs, and we are already fixing some of them. Thank you for everyone that please do use the GitHub issues to report any issues you find. But the goal would be every time we introduce a new feature into the semantic modeling, into the analysis services, is to also make those operations available in the Power BI modeling MCP.
Right.
Um,
Great. Thank you and have a nice day to all of you also that are watching still. Maybe I think it's a record time of our episode, but that I wanted to give also to room to do that because I myself also very much like this. So thank you and
Thank you.
maybe see you next week. Bye.
See you next time. Bye
Bye
bye. Thank you,
bye.
Kailash.